He's LeBlanc with Karsa feels so threatening, right? That feels like such a proactive duo that you can pair up. You do see Nautilus and then the Graves come in, which is a bit of an interesting one. Not something we typically necessarily expect. Now, V5 are kind of locked in here to pick up the Lux because you really want to pair up Caitlyn with that Lux. The only other lane that's really sort of got similar amount of power synergy is Caitlyn Morgana, but we don't really see that played anymore. And V5 going with the idea of just locking TF, so not even going towards LeBlanc, but this is something that can be very proactive, often banned in their current meta. And when you have a Caitlyn Lux bot lane, this is already scary. How do you play against this?
This is dominance, and I don't think that's the answer, Abel. I'm going to be totally honest. The way that in my mind you answer Zeri is have long range. Caitlyn Lux has got a lot of range. I'm not sure how well Zeri's going to do into that in lane.
Yeah, and I think as well, TF is exceptionally good into Zeri, right? Because one of the big things is she skirts around the edge of fights, building up that movement speed, hard to pin down, point and click stun, right? You know, it's an easy solution. And obviously you have traps to follow out, you have bindings. B5 already, I feel like they've come out a fair bit ahead now. For OMG, they can sort of look to target junglers here. I do think the Graves is going to be top lane. It is obviously technically a flex, but I think they have first choice of junglers coming out this rotation. So right now they're taking away the Poppy. There is still the likes of that Jarvan available, of that Xin Zhao available for them if they want. We'll see what they lean towards.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. As the ban comes through, it's going to be Vex taken away from Creme in the mid lane. So just trying to set up Rookie with a good matchup. And I am curious that they're leaving the Karsa pick so late in the draft. But then again, the Graves could be up in the top lane. Could be for Aki either. We've already mentioned Aki does love a jungler that he can farm effectively on. He's not played the Graves this split. We have seen it 3 times for Shanji. So you would expect it to be top side. But still possible that they switch that one around. But it is going to be the Xin Zhao taken off the board by OMG.
My only concern is that if you play a farming jungler, your bot lane is so doomed. Right? Like to an insane level. I feel like you have to gank bot. You have to find some way in bot pre level 6 before TF is enabled, and you just have to gank them. I feel like that is the solution here. So yeah, we'll see what OMG opt for in this situation. I think I'm not a fan of the Corki. I think you need something that gets priority. I'd prefer the Victor for that reason, because if you're just getting pushed in by this TF, again, this is just Abel is the one locking it in, right? He's the one who locked that in, and he's just like, this is pain for me.
This
Creme.
I was gonna say this could be a Tryndamere, honestly, with the Malphite ban. It's not often you see a Malphite ban. It's gonna be the Jayce coming through in the end. Yeah, you're right. The Corki comes through. It's gonna be Jayce, and it's going to be the Viego, and now a Shen hover by OMG. They're like, well, if I can't play Malphite, I'll just play Shen instead. Similar vibe. Just build a lot of armor and try and survive in the top side.
Yeah, the upside is this is actually pretty helpful if you're going for those bot side plays, right? Having the channel. The problem is, you know, if one side brings Rookie in and the other side brings Shanji in on the Shen, and you're even numbers, chances are that Abel and Cold are already like 20% HP. So it's not the best setup. And honestly, I love V5's composition, right? They've got strong prio lanes across the board. They have very, very good single target burst damage, right? You land a stun card, you land a binding, you land a trap after. That is a dead target, and that is so good for a Viego, right? Once you take down one target, he gets the resets, the momentum is there. I think OMG, their composition feels a little bit all over the place. They have strong scaling elements, they have some...
I feel like Corki is not a champion that LPL players inherently get. I feel like some of them get it. A lot of them really don't. We'll see if that changes for Creme and Rookie.
What's hilarious is Creme is someone who is like, I specifically remember him being guilty of that. And, you know, speaking of being guilty, ppgod just caught out and dead. And this is a good start. This is actually positive. This is what OMG want, right? We said, what are you going to do about bot lane? Invade level 1 is the answer.
Just kill him. I mean, it's a good solution. I like it. And crucially as well, I don't know why I can't say the word crucially, apparently. ppgod going with the Arcane Comet as well.
This is so
not
cheesy.
Going Guardian. He's going aggressive.
I cannot believe they're actually doing this.
They're going to get away with it as well. They're going to get away with it. Cold's going to go for it. The hook. It's onto ppgod again. He's going to go down. Cold gets the kill. Photic will get underneath the tower, but it doesn't matter. This lane's already over.
No, this is honestly really great from OMG, because this was my biggest concern, is bot lane would just get absolutely bullied out. They've already killed the Lux top. Shanji is playing roaming Shen.
Okay, he misses the hook. I was going to say, I'm not sure that dive is actually smart. I think that's the point at which you throw the strategy. Shanji's just staying here. Forget top lane. Who cares about top lane? Just kill the bot lane over and over again. Shanji has still not gone to lane yet. He's got 2 assists.
Yeah, this is kind of like the enchanted Janna strategy, where you just sack your own lane. He's still here. He's still going.
What is happening?
Oh man, he's relentless.
He really does not care about top lane. I love this. Shanji, he doesn't need smite to just run around the map and cause shenanigans. ppgod stun. ppgod is not having a very fun game of League of Legends. The TP comes out. He is 2 full waves behind at this point, but 3 kills. I don't know how much XP he's got from those kills, but maybe he's only 1 full level behind. I don't know if that's a silver lining or not.
Now Karsa's here. I think they just need to back up, but they have denied so much, right? Look at the CS advantage between Abel and Photic. All those kills. You know, I'm just going to say, I cannot praise this enough. It looks cheesy. It looks a bit chaotic. Oh,
flash shorts from Rookie, and it's going to be followed with a flash from Karsa. 1 more hit, and Karsa takes down Creme in the mid lane. So at least something back for V5.
Yeah, something back. That's definitely a positive. Obviously, top lane now really far ahead. But my big concern, my massive concern coming out this draft, was the fact that you have a TF who can cover this Kate Lux and allow them just to push endlessly. You would absolutely ruin this Zeri's existence. The fact that they went for this innovative play, they go for the map split, they constantly dive and repeat, really creative, and it's actually found a way for them to navigate out of this one. And we've seen, you know, this isn't quite the Janna with smite, Pima, roam, ignore your lane, but it's very much showing that, as is true for Shen, the priority is not your own lane. Shanji has played for his team, and that has been pretty successful so far in this one. And now both of V5's bot lane members flashless. They have to be really scared of an all-in constantly.
Yeah, and when you look at the gold difference between the bottom lane versus the gold difference between the top lane, right? Because he sacrificed his own lane. He's 300 gold down versus Rich, whereas in the bottom lane, there's a 500 gold lead in favor of Abel because he was able to get the tower plate as well. So it's worked out in the short term here. They've got 1,000 gold lead across the board. It's feeling real good, OMG. And I like you're saying, that they're coming in with creativity. They've got a strategy that they're bringing to the table and making things happen for themselves. It's exciting to see this, especially in a series where, on paper, I'd say OMG are the underdog.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think coming out of the draft, I was concerned. So we got to see how they continue it, though, right? The big thing for me that I want to focus on is TF hitting level 6. Once Rookie gets that mark, it does really shift the dynamic of the game. Him just being able to move down and offer assistance. The thing is, obviously, it's going to be a little bit later for Shen to get that level 6 because he sort of missed so many waves. But once he gets that, it does mitigate to an extent. And it really comes down to Creme as well, also moving, right? If both of these globalers ult down bot, Creme is like the next person in line to be able to show up and turn it one way or another. And but the main thing is, my expectation was Abel and Cold behind, shoved in, punished. And it's still V5. Look how scared the bot lane is playing, right? Constantly back, stood so far back, concerned about the potential for a Nautilus dredge line to come through.
And 2 right, honestly. 2 right. I'd be scared if I were them as well after how this game has started off. Obviously, Cold having that Hex Flash as well, so there is always that potential opportunity to try and make that play. Creme takes a gold card, but Rookie's been baited in the mid lane. The slow there, the anchor to come in from Cold. Rookie flashed forward for the previous play, and OMG punishing it beautifully. This is a totally different squad to who we saw before Chinese New Year.
Yeah, and I love plays like this, right? Cold moves up. You know the TF is going to become a problem very shortly. You target his lane, put down some pressure, and put him on the back foot. And now it gives Creme the opportunity to push the wave in, get a reset off, and be in a more comfortable position. Just again, constant proactivity from this OMG lineup. And it's just very positive to see Aki as well assisting his top laner, sharing a bit of CS as well. That's the thing when you're playing something like a Graves, right? One of the concerns would be if you're going this very resourceless Shen, you know, you want to pick up the slack somewhere else. And by having this Graves picking up some waves, farming very effectively, it means that you're not too much behind in terms of total gold.
Yeah, kind of an interesting one, isn't it? Where you see Aki moving in and actually taking CS in the lane. It's not something you'd expect to see, but like you're saying, with the Shen, it can work out. He's a low utility or a low resource top laner, I guess is the best way to phrase it. He's 2 levels down currently, but against Jayce, that's, you know, not necessarily the end of the world in terms of ultimate access. At least there's no huge spike at 6 specifically for Jayce, but in terms of just being bullied in the lane, it's not gonna be a very easy lane for Shanji from this point on. He's 30, almost 40 CS down at this point. Whereas a bottom lane gap not really increasing dramatically. So it feels like that gold lead that we saw across the lanes, it's much more transitioned into the gold lead in the jungle and bot lane these days.
I think the OMG are kind of okay with that. Just the fact that when they sort of get to that mid-game point, is V5 being ahead there that would be really scary, right? Jayce spikes massively there. Caitlyn Lux should be ahead typically coming in the mid-game, and then Twisted Fate is 2-item spike is massive. So the fact that OMG have found this lead, it means Creme is more comfortable to lean into late stages. We all know how broken Corki is in the late game. Now Cold.
Oh, the flash from Cold instant, and Rookie's gone down again. OMG will just not let... And this is the classic way to answer TF, right? You mentioned it before. I remember Dagda talking about this a ton back in 2020 when TF first became meta, and has basically been meta ever since, honestly. Like, if you've got a TF that's about to hit level 6, just gank it over and over again, right? He can't impact the rest of the map if you bring the fight to him.
Yep, targeting the lane with the global is so effective because, you know, TF can't ult to his own lane. And only ult to other ones. And I love the play here. The CC comes out from Cold with Flash, but also the smoke screen from Graves means he can't even throw the stun card out as retaliation. Just 0 chance of everything happening. Now, the downside is we're seeing the resets a little bit slow from OMG. Package has been picked up on the 8-minute timer. Normally, we see that used to contest the Herald, but Herald is already gone. So despite OMG having the advantage in these plays, it is V5 pulling ahead in terms of those neutrals, a Dragon, and now that first Herald in pocket.
And a bit of a weird timing for the package pickup as well. Not just because it's late for the Herald, but also it's now not going to be lined up with the Drake either. So you don't get either objective with the package. So we need to see something proactive from Creme with this package. They need to make that pickup worth it.
Absolutely, especially as I have the expectation that we might end up seeing this Herald get slammed down top. I'm not sure necessarily if you need it, because honestly, keeping the Shen in the lane against Rich is pretty favorable, right? He's just getting harassed. The tower is naturally going to go down anyway. But if you do want to snowball this game in your favor and give Rich a ton of gold, you could just throw it down there. It looks like instead we see Karsa moving down towards the bot side. He wants to defend from this dive.
Yeah, I mean, the alternative as well is if you can win this fight on the bottom side, which Caitlyn and Lux at level 6, they're very good at winning fights. If you could get the Herald down for Photic and get a bit of gold for this Caitlyn, certainly be something that they'd be happy to work with, but Karsa won't be able to find that opportunity just yet as Shanji desperately doing what he can in this top side, but Rich is going to consistently win the trades. A couple of tower shots. That was a nice taunt from Shanji, but again, 40-50 CS down, it's not getting any easier.
And here's the problem, right, is that OMG want to have their Shen ult activated and available. Because he's getting pushed in so hard, if he ults at all, you're probably just losing your tower off the back of that, right? So kind of puts you in a pretty rough spot where any play that does go down bot lane is likely going to cost you a lot in that top lane matchup. Where there's already 1,000 gold lead, there's already that level lead, and Jayce is a champion who surprisingly scales extremely well with levels and gold.
Yeah, and on top of that, like you're mentioning the fact that if you leave, the towers will go down. Well, if you even get the Shen ult off, that is, you basically have to abandon lane to try and get the Shen ult off, because first off, Jayce can interrupt it, but second off, you stand still in range of that Jayce, he's just going to finish you off. Shanji's been so low on HP consistently in this lane because Rich is doing such a good job of just harassing him down with the shock blasts that he stands still to channel that Shen ult. He might just get one shot.
They might be looking... They are just going to throw down the Herald here. And she's just going to have to run away.
Karsa might be too deep on this one. There's no wave, but Shanji going to be the one to jump away because Rookie using that ulti to get up to the top side. And there we go. Rich giving the plates over and continues to build the CS lead for himself. So overall, in terms of gold, we are now dead even. After all of the shenanigans across the game, it's been spread around the map. It's been shifted up and down, but we are now at an even mark. This Rookie going to look for the gold card, flashes forward to make sure that Rich can finish the kill.
Yeah, good that they get that play, because honestly, I'm going to say it. I think their initial play on the top side kind of weak, right? You throw the herald down, you get a plate and a half. You use the TF ult, you don't get a kill. I don't really think that's worth it, right? As much as they do secure that first tower, Rich did not need the herald to do that. I think they potentially could have got more value somewhere else. They do end up getting the kill on the Shanji, which makes it a bit more valuable. But ultimately, it felt like they were kind of, you know, tipping things over the edge. It was already going very heavily in favor of Rich. And now Shanji, he's going to go up and defend. But with that longer lane, it buys him more time, right? If he can get assistance to push the wave out, then he should be able to assist. No, I don't think he can yet.
Right, if he's got his W up, though, maybe one or two more autos would finish the job. It's not going to happen for the time being. And that might be a good thing for him, honestly, to be able to bounce the wave. There's OMG now invading at the bottom side. It was a very nice little QE from ppgod and Photic to steal the big chicken from Creme. Very nicely coordinated from them. And I feel like this is the first time in a while that I've seen a map split so dramatically as it has been across the course of this game.
And especially when it's a Caitlyn Lux, right? Normally, one of the reasons we see Caitlyn Lux banned a lot is how dominant it can be in the laning phase. But one of the other aspects of it is it kind of needs to be ahead. The teams who are good with it are excellent with it and very good at sort of ensuring that their lane could just function basically in the isolated 2v2. And if anyone joins, you make sure you have the advantage. Because of the dynamics that's gone down, is like, yes, Photic is, you know, he's not super far behind. The gap between him and Abel isn't as big as the gap between Shanji and Rich, for example. But Caitlyn's mid game is a fair bit weaker, and you typically bank on the champion. The strength of it is coming out of the lane and phase ahead. So definitely a little bit worrying. But they do still have the super strong Jayce on the top side. And I think the big thing that I'm looking towards for the side of V5 is the 2-item spikes. When you have 2 items on the Jayce and you have 2 items on the Twisted Fate, that's where they should really look to pull out ahead in terms of the team fights.
Yeah, we need to, for the side of V5 as well, not just looking at team fights, but we need to see Rookie start to have an impact on game. It feels like he's been struggling, and that's thanks to OMG. That's not down to... Oh, hang on, ppgod, you got to be real careful on that one. Okay, he's managed to find a good chunk of damage onto Aki, who's decided maybe this isn't the play after all, now that he's got no HP remaining. But Abel's still hammering away on the tower. Karsa moving in to try and answer somewhat. Abel will finally be pushed off.
And now things are kind of mixed up, right? We have the Jayce on the top side, we have the Shen who's going to push this wave in bot, and this kind of opens up a perfect opportunity, right? Herald is spawning in 20 seconds, and Shanji will have this wave pushed in. This is prime window for OMG to start to do something proactive, because their Shen can move and isn't going to lose out on a tower as a result. So I expect to see OMG looking to contest this Herald. I want to see them be a bit proactive on the back of this. This is a perfect timer for them.
Yeah, trying to get priority in the mid lane. Photic able to answer so far with those minions to block the dredge line. Does need to be a little cautious though. Will mean OMG can move towards the Herald, as you're saying. Karsa in the meantime goes, you know what? Shen can't make the play elsewhere if he's stuck in the bottom side. It's going to be an Everfrost coming in. The stun is there. Shanji is tanky, but not quite tanky enough as Karsa gets his second kill of the game. And in the meantime, OMG will get the Herald. So V5 acknowledging they couldn't contest the Herald, make an opposite play.
Yeah, good moves coming out from the side of V5. Bit disrespectful from Shanji, right? You know you're playing for the top side. You should back away, but now the package is there to threaten. This should just be able to be them translating to this mid-tier 1. If they need the Herald, they can throw it down.
Oh, but nice wave clear coming out from the V5 bot lane, trying to defend the tower. It's not going to be enough, even with a couple of tower shots. Aki happy to tank for a little while. Yeah, Creme, I don't know about that one. He uses the package to get himself out of there. Jumps over the wall, and suddenly Rich is there. And it could have been hammer time if he wasn't careful. So we'll be able to get that with the life, though, all things considered. And this is a very even game. I'm so excited, folks, that we're getting to see this version of OMG. I was so concerned that we were going to hype it up and it would be the version of OMG that we saw against LGD. But no, this is the good version. They're looking so intelligent in these games.
Absolutely. And this is actually really well played by Shanji just to block the auto from Rookie. But at the end of the day, it's just not quite enough. in this situation. I think his flash was coming up pretty soon, but wasn't quite available. But again, it's a good proactive play, and they're looking for that again onto Shanji. It's a bit weaker here with Photic and ppgod. I don't think he'll kill him.
Although it is Caitlyn looks at the end of the day. The trap's going to come on through, and
I mean, I said, but
yeah, he's done.
Apparently they can kill him, and I think Shanji, bit disrespectful with the flash, right? You had ample opportunity to flash that binding, and I think he had the same thought process as me. I can live this. I'm fine. But ends up getting taken out. It's a bit too much damage. Remember, this is a very behind Shen. This is not a tanky Shen who's been able to farm up comfortably. He's 60 CS down in his matchup, and so will be a lot squishier than you'd initially expect.
Oh, Creme's got to be dead on this one. Flash already used. The Everfrost is there, and Rich easily finishes this one off. Or does he? Rookie gets the kill in the end. I thought he was going to escape with the shield bow for a second. He doesn't even have a shield bow. Where did the shield come from? Am I going crazy?
I don't know, dude. Could have a shield from, what's it called? The sorcery rune, if there's a shield. Wait, who are you talking about having a shield? Sorry,
Corki, but doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's the sorcery rune that might have been a shield, if there was one. Regardless. Anyway, moving on. I think what we're seeing from V5 really good here is the way they play through the side lanes, right? We see Rookie. This is actually a really common thing that he's been doing when playing with Rich, is that he will just lean into the side lane. Whoever Rich is pushed up against, he'll just look to dive them. This is very easy to do on the Twisted Fate.
It was Shen, guys. Okay.
Oh, Shen. Okay.
So I just want to give some context for the people at home watching that think I've probably never watched a League of Legends game before. The feed that we get is not super high quality a lot of the time. It has to get through the Chinese firewall, so sometimes the game feed isn't super clear. I apologize. It happens. It happens. It's one of those, unfortunately. We're casting online. It is what it is. There are always going to be tech issues. With that said, though, 5-5 on the scoreboard, and OMG now slamming a Herald towards the top side. Rookie needs to be cautious that he doesn't get dived.
We'll just back away, and this is good answer back from OMG, right? They're throwing the Herald down, not getting the most value, but they need to answer. V5 have been so proficient in set up their side lanes, aggressing on them, using the power of the TF, plus the Jayce's massive advantage over the Shen, and they will end up trading tier 2s. Ooh, cold, so close.
This is going to be another kill by the looks of things. This is OMG blowing this game wide open right here. Herald's going to get another charge as Cold barely gets out with his life. That's an inhib tower taken by OMG. And V5 basically no answer. They'll maybe get a tier 1 in the mid lane, but there's going to be a TP coming in as well. It's surrounded by Caitlyn traps, maybe a window, but Creme doesn't quite step onto it. That was damn close. Shanji could be in trouble. Photic can't make any plays though. And V5 falling behind.
It feels like, though, there's just so many rapid trades, right? 5 towers apiece at 19 minutes. Both of them very willing to go to opposite sides and just manage to layer gold on particular people. We look how it's panned out. Rich and Abel are both very rich, right? 9,800, nearly 10,000 gold on this Jayce and on this Zeri. Both of these carries extremely strong, and it's because we've seen this rapid trading back and forth. Structure has just been taken basically on repeat to try and snowball things in their favor.
5-6 on the scoreboard as we head towards the 20-minute mark, and it is dead even. It is dead even, and I'm excited to see it as well, because Abel now getting close to 3 items on this Zeri. We're starting to get to that critical mass where Zeri really starts to take over the game, and especially with the Shen ults in the fight, with the Nautilus to be able to help protect from cold and be able to set up this Zeri. I feel like this is going to be very difficult to deal with unless you can find that gold card, but with the cleanse in play, I'm not sure the gold card even matters that much. Yeah,
it definitely makes it a bit of a difficult one. I will say it's kind of like, that's the problem for V5. The problem for OMG is the side lane where Jayce is just a bit too strong at the moment, and they have to find angles to force fights, which they've been pretty good at so far, right? We've seen Cold very aggressive at setting things up, but the longer you leave this Jayce alone, the more issues he is going to cause. He is so much stronger than the Shen right now, and the fact that you have Rookie as well, Rookie can just lean into the side lane and gank whoever's there, or just walk in there, show up, stun card them, and then has the ultimate to join whatever objective OMG might start up. So that's really where V5 have kind of been excelling, and what that comp will be extremely effective at is playing those side lanes, whereas OMG, the Corki's starting to ramp up, the Zeri is very strong, These two both real menaces in the later stages.
Certainly are. As ppgod going to use that laser just to check the Baron. The laser's such a short cooldown at this point in the game as well. Once he... Oh, in fact, he's actually not level 11 just yet. So once he hits level 11, the cooldown drops dramatically. But honestly, even early on, it's still pretty low cooldown these days for the Lux. They, ever since they made that change, it feels like Lux is a totally different champion to who she used to be. The speed at which you can just blast those ults out. But V5 positioning on the bottom side of the map. Drake coming up in 50 seconds. This will be the third one for OMG if they're able to get it, but it feels like it's going to be V5 that are in control of the area.
And I think that's important, especially when you're playing against a team with the package, right? I think it's kind of vital. Make sure you're there first. Now, Rookie actually uses his ultimate to go top, apply some pressure on the side lane, push the wave up. Should have time to like back off and head down towards the boss side, but this is setting up the wave in favor, but it does mean that they are kind of losing control in this dragon area.
And also Destiny now on cooldown right before Drake spawns. That's not ideal.
I don't think it's not the best tool in team fights, right? It's not like it definitely can have value, but it's not always going to have value. And I guess there is value in the pushing wave, but it does mean that OMG Rookie isn't here, doesn't have TP. We can just force in, and now they are in control and on the dragon.
Yep, Dragon just going to be started off by OMG. This will be sole point if they can just finish it off down to 2k, and it will not be stolen. Karsa tried his damnedest, but Flash on cooldown now knocked up. Big damage across the team as Abel goes in. Shen ults to keep him safe as it's Rookie found out by Creme on the top side of the fight. It's just the one kill at the end of it. That's Rookie down and an opportunity for a Baron for OMG.
Yeah, I mean, they have a ton of damage to this Baron, right? Even though it's AP Corki, he still does a lot to this neutral objectives. You have the Graves, you have the Zeri, and now it kind of comes down to V5 to contest this one. Health bar's getting low. Good dodge on the Jayce poke. That could have been really threatening, but I think they want to turn.
Oh, the flash from Shanji to start the fight. Karsa keeps himself safe for the time being, but not for long. One shot by Aki. And now ppgod wants a bit of a return, but does not have the damage. Creme surviving. Rich waiting for a shock blast, waiting for an opportunity that will never come. But OMG, with one extra pick, it's enough damage onto them that they can't just go for the Baron again.
Yeah, so I think OMG, I don't think you ever finish that Baron. There's too much threat from the poke from the enemy team, plus Rookie was spawning fairly soon, but they got extra kills, right? They're really happy with how things are panning out. You have this super strong Graves, the Zeri is very powerful, and I think, you know, this is one of the issues, is that V5, the way to secure and guarantee this dragon was to be there first. And as a result of Rookie going top, they basically gave over their control of the area to OMG. And as much as OMG don't crush the fight, I'm not really sure Rookie just completely caught out in this situation. But it just feels like V5 are kind of losing their grip on the game. And the thing is, as it goes later, I'm a lot more confident in OMG's composition.
Yeah, it feels like this is a snowball composition, right? From V5, and they are not snowballing anymore. Still even in gold. Like, let's not overstate it. They are even currently, but that doesn't mean that they will remain, right? They're now going to start to fall behind in terms of scaling. And when it comes to the later fights as well, I mean, Corki's just going to get stronger and stronger. This Graves has been farming up a Storm as well, so he's now on 2.5 items. So this is becoming difficult for V5. Rookie just having a really rough game. We were saying how Rookie didn't have the greatest of years last year. Photic keeps himself safe with Gale Force there. We were saying how Rookie felt like he's back on form this year so far, but this game, he's having a really hard time. And in the meantime, Rich just absolutely bodying Shanji off in the side lane. Forget a Baron, they're just going to kill him. They're just going to take the base while the Baron doesn't happen. Baron's still on 10k HP, and Rich is going to take this inhib. He has teleport. OMG are in a lose-lose situation. Shanji now going to use Stand United to get to the rest of his team. 5k on the Baron. Karsa needs to try and find the miracle smite here. 2k on the Baron as they look to take things. Rich is just trying to end the game. Baron taken by OMG, but now V5 trying to just force the fight, stopping the recalls. Rich is literally ending the game. OMG will find themselves the fight. Can they protect the Nexus? It looks like it. Rich has to get out of there through the Hex Gates.
Oh, he just goes straight out, man. Down to the wire, and V5, they just keep pushing, right? Rich in the side lane is unanswerable at this point. Shanji actually had to ult in to keep Cold alive. And yes, they get the Baron. They get a couple of kills. they lose so much of their base. You're against a Twisted Fate, and you have an open Nexus. That is scary for OMG.
Terrifying situation, and I'm telling you, Jayce from Arcane is real happy that he invented the Hex Gates now. That is for sure.
I tell you what, right? You can understand the decision making from OMG here. They are desperate, right? They know they can't deal with the Jayce. He's just going to keep applying pressure. They have to force something. But imagine if he stole that Baron. Imagine if V5 picked it up and Karsa got the steal. I think that might have been potentially enough time, because without the empowered recalls, Jayce shreds a Nexus extremely quickly. That was very sketchy, very close to the game just being over there and then. So V5 struggle on, but OMG, they got the Baron, but at what cost?
Yeah, to be honest, this just feels like a top esports game. This feels like an IG game, you know? The way that V5 are playing, Karsa and Rookie joining this squad, whether or not they individually are the ones making the plays, clearly the shot calling has come over, and it feels like that's the vibe now. It's like, okay, well, we're not going to win the conventional way. Let's just make crazy things happen around the map, and I love to witness it. Creme has the package here. He wants to make a play up towards Rich by the looks of things, but won't go for it for the time being. 10 seconds until the strike comes up. This will be solved for OMG, and for some reason, they don't seem to be playing towards it.
This is scary. Look at Creme. I mean, he has TP, right? So if he needs to, he can leave. But they are so afraid of being backdoored that they are just essentially camping it. They're just going to try and rush this down and burst it.
They get it anyway. They just get it anyway. Laser goes on.
And they get out.
ppgod. It doesn't matter. Creme in the meantime just 1v1s Rich. Absolutely shreds him. I mean, hey, he can't backdoor if he's dead. That's one solution to the issue.
I was like, okay, OMG have to defend the Nexus. That means you have two members there. V5 have a numbers advantage on the Dragon. So, you know, it's kind of like a trade-off. OMG refused to trade off, and V5 are like, yeah, you know, you can kill our top laner, you can defend your base, and you can get soul. Take them all. We wouldn't even contest.
Yeah, this is gone from bad to worse for a V5 here, as the tower will go down. OMG, I think, might just be able to end the game. They've got 15 seconds until Rich is back onto the map. The inhib has fallen in the mid lane. Creme is just sitting about.
He's on tower defense. He's actually just the base defender. It's literally like a tower defense game, and
yeah.
he's just chilling, refusing to leave.
I'm just saying.
I honestly respect it. We've all had these games before where you just know if you leave your base for a split second, it is gone, especially because Rich has TP and kills it so quickly, but it is still kind of funny to see.
At the end of the day, on Bloons tower defense, there is a helicopter unit. I'm just saying, Creme, he's locked in. He knew when he locked in at the start of this game. He was ready for tower defense.
He expected this outcome, right? He knew 29 minutes of the game, we'd have an open Nexus, and I can defend it as the helicopter tower.
Yeah. Beautiful depth of strategy from OMG. But in all seriousness, I am really impressed by OMG in this game. It has not been clean so far, and it is certainly not over yet. But they are showing up, and they are taking V5 down to wire, and somehow V5 still managing to put pressure onto OMG, which is kind of mind-blowing considering they're behind in gold. They're against a Dragon Soul, but ultimately, doesn't really matter what the gold says. It's all down to execution and finding these plays. That's exactly what V5 are trying to do.
It's all down to who kills the opponent's Nexus. And I think that's what V5 are hunting for right here. They're trying to find a pick in the side lane so they can all just zoom in and just annihilate the Nexus. But I think the inhibitors are spawning fairly soon. You see V5 gonna get some information with the Destiny. They will spot 3 members of OMG just chilling in base. It's still Creme is just refusing to leave. I think now that's the inhibitor coming up, so it's a little bit of the safety net. Maybe he can step like a couple more inches away from his base.
Oh no, Rookie! What? Rookie, mate, what is going on? I don't know. You know, we did a segment at the start of the show saying rookies and cream, and the initial pun there was cookies and cream. Well, Rookie has gone full cookie today. I think we've cursed him. He's 1 and 5 on the TF. He got bodied in the laning phase thanks to the proactive plays from both Aki and Cold towards that mid lane. And now, even in the late stages of the game, just making silly mistakes. He did not need to be in a position where Aki could kill him there at all. And now the rest of V5 Getting collapsed upon. Shanji trying to close the gap. Cold over the wall as well. Flashes forward. Karsa the target. They get away for now. This Photic trying to escape. Abel is so fast though, and he's bringing Shen with him. Shanji trying to now close the gap, but Rich surviving. There's the flash torn, and that will be Rich going down. Flash from Photic to dodge away from the anchor, but Abel ain't stopping anytime soon. Dashing over the walls, charging up forwards. Lightning galore as the spark is exploding. Double comes through for Zeri as it's a knock-up onto Karsa here. And Rookie has arrived, but he doesn't have a whole lot of damage to work with. Shanji jumps away, keeps himself alive. And now Aki over the wall. The shotgun comes out, but he autos a minion instead of Karsa. Stopwatch keeps him alive. And Rookie is gone once more. OMG blast their way into game number 1. It's 18-6 as they style on V5.
What a game from OMG, honestly. I mean, that bit at the end, seeing them just flying forwards, the chain slow from the Hex Tech Soul helping out close the gap, and Zeri's speed really being neutralized. But honestly, I had massive concerns coming in the draft. I was like, how will you solve the bot lane problem? And I felt like OMG went creative and they had every solution they needed and more. They punished them so heavily and they really shut down the Caitlyn looks. And then even though they had this Jayce in the top lane, that was obviously a massive issue, they were so aggressive at forcing solutions, I think is the main thing. And on top of that, I love the fact that they brought out this kind of hybrid, right? We have the perma roaming Janna with Smite, and we have a normal top laner. And this Shen was somewhere in the middle, but it did its job absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, beautifully done. And it was weird. It really was weird. I don't like watching it live. I was really not sure if it was good or not, but they got 3 kills off the back of it, right? At the end of the day, you found yourself in a big deficit in the top lane, but that deficit was always going to happen. Like, Rich was always going to win that top lane matchup. So at the end of the day, finding an advantage, denying the future advantage from the bottom lane of V5, I completely agree with you that this was super smart play from OMG. And then later on in the game, consistently playing smart as well. That's the biggest thing that has improved for OMG. We already knew they were good mechanical players. Like, they've all individually proven that. But showing that these guys are smart, they have a clever way of playing the game, and they're creative as well. These are really good signs for OMG.
Yeah, and it did, I'll be honest, it came down the wire a little bit with the open nexus, with the fact that, you know, a Baron steal from Karsa might have given enough time for Rich to end the game. Hard to really know, but at the end of the day, OMG able to close that one out, able to put Creme on base defense. And we hyped up this mid lane matchup. Rookie did not look good.
No, Rookie really did not look good. He had a terrible game for himself. I'm hoping we get him on a carry for game number 2 and change things up from the Twisted Fate. Did not work out at all. And I mean, for example, early on, him getting ganked by 3 people in lane, I can understand dying to that, right? That one's fairly reasonable. But when he's getting 1v1'd by Creme in the team fights and things like this, when he got caught out by Aki up in the top side as well, these are the kind of situations that realistically, you can't afford to be making those kinds of mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up being really costly as well, because one of the things we're talking about is the fact that we have this TF. Rookie is very commonly does this, where he goes into the side lane where Rich is pushing, and they go for a 2-man play onto the solo lane and kill them, and it puts so much pressure on the team. Because he was, you know, often getting caught out, his destinies weren't really finding anything. It meant they couldn't really punish the Jayce's advantage as much as we've seen them do in other games.
And it feels like, once again, the positive for V5 is shenanigans, right? Which is pretty much what has been the positive for the whole split. The negative is, okay, the shenanigans didn't work out. What on earth do we do now? Like, where do we go from here? And that ultimately, if the play with Rich at Baron had worked out, if they'd managed to stop the recalls and just survive a little longer, you know, they win the game. But if they have to play conventional League of Legends, it doesn't feel like the coordination is there, and it does not feel like they have that standard playbook available to them right now. We'll see if that continues to develop over the course of the split, but for now, they've got 1 loss left in them before they take the big L on the scoreboard, and OMG continue to climb the standings. We'll see if that's going to be how it pans out right after this.